talk, stretching the arms. You begin to open your channels, okay? You begin to manifest more breath chi in your lower abdomen, which is called the lower dantian, which is your human battery. You have a rechargeable battery, just like a phone, right? When the phone dying, you don't judge it. You just put it on the charging port. When I feel fatigued, I don't judge myself like everyone else. Well, let me try to find a superfood or drink some tea or get some rest. No, sleep is not true rest. That's emergency. That's backup. That ain't true rest. When you know how to charge up with this technique, I go outside and I go do my thing and I fill up because my body is a technology. All right? So I'm using it, as they say, spirit split itself so it can experience itself, as they say in metaphysics, right? But what I'm saying is that to apply metaphysics, to apply health, cultivation, immortality, everything that they're talking about, you had to first know how to breathe into your energy center. Now, if you want to go the gentle route and just do natural breath, I don't know if you ever can reach there. I'm just being honest, right? I know of yogis that reach there just from meditation, but it took a very long time. So what we're doing is, with this technique, you're making it happen, okay? So my breathing slowed down to where now I breathe 3 to 6 breaths per minute. Very relaxed. It relaxes the nervous system. Why is that? Because you got to think of it. If you got $1 million in the bank, you're like, man, I'm chilling, man. You know, I don't got to go hustle. I don't got to go work. You relax, right? It's the same. When the body have a lot of energy stored in chi, it relax. Oh God, I don't live in the ghetto no more, right? Now all this, he keep putting toxins in the body and they ain't giving me no damn energy to deal with the toxins and deal with the food. So we've become a culture where we dissipate our energy and become very good at it, which then the backup call is sleeping for long hours at a time. But if you only charge up in sleep, you don't have a lot of it. You have just enough to get by. That's what they want. They want just enough. All right. You know what I mean? So again, that was only a half of a technique. In the program, when I teach 7 different styles of moves, even one in full that helps you to get in full lotus to where you open up the leg channels. All right. So remember what I said, that the Shaolin monks, they treated meditation like it was the Olympics. So to understand nothingness, you had to do. And the great work of all the ages, as they say in Masonry or in the mystery schools, was the great work of prepping your channels, of spiritualizing the flesh. This is applied metaphysics with earthly hands. So over time, as you build and stretch it open, just keep doing it every day. Your breath, your life, your connection to nature, everything begins to change. But it's a gradual thing that takes place. So now you see, when I said that there are 2 types of chi, right? You got the before heaven chi, which is the chi that you inherited from your parents, your prenatal chi. Most of the energy exercises are just teaching you how to circulate your prenatal chi and the chi you have already, all right? Also, things like acupuncture, herbology, those things help with, like acupuncture, it helps with opening energy blocks, bringing balance, but it does not get you abundant of chi. That's an awareness you have to cultivate. So you have to know the difference between harnessing more energy than what you inherited and just circulating what you already have, all right? This technique is not even taught in the temples. You could go to China, they'll teach you something else. Not saying it's not bad, it's just more of a gentle approach, right? So not bad mouthing anything, but just like I say, if you have 2G Wi-Fi, it ain't that it's doing nothing wrong, it just ain't as efficient as the 5G. So all I'm saying is that this Qigong, which was passed on in the royal family in China, where they were such high-level cultivators, the Chinese Communist Party didn't even mess with them. They could have done what they wanted, but they only gave this to their close friends and family members. So this isn't just Shaolin Qigong. It's their family lineage, all right? So again, we even have a Qigong where you use sounds and mantras. When you exhale, you do a sound and you expand the abdomen. Each sound targets different organs. Why is that? Because the 6 healing sounds help to take out stagnant emotional energy. All right, like how you have anger impedes the liver. So there's a specific sound. When you imprint a sound on the exhale, it's like you're going to the liver and then you exhaling out all that stagnant emotional energy. All right, so there's one for emotional virtues, one for strengthening the body, the other one for helping with enlightenment, to rise the energy up to the brain. That's the one that's in lotus. Because if you could pull up your feet in full lotus, if you could pull it up higher, you could bring it up to the brain easier. So again, it's like you're prepping. If you want to dress up for God, all right? If you want to go to church and get all like, you don't go to church looking like a bum, right? You go to church all suited up, looking nice, right? So metaphysically, energetically, if you want to show up to nature, to God, you want to show up to nature with your channels open, right? With your breath cultivated. Then the elements can be like, yay, that brother, he put in the work. He could listen to us. He could take in our love, our wisdom. Remember this, all right? That nature wants you to become a supreme intelligence. It ain't careful if you're just good or bad or anything like that. No, it's the elements, the Netaru, the ancestors, whatever you want to call them. They favor those that can align to becoming a supreme intelligence. Can you be used, brother and sister, for the will of the all, not your personal free will? We ain't talking that. Free will is actually kind of an illusion. As you begin to devote yourself, you realize you don't really have free will. When I said that online, a lot of people is like, what do you mean? You know, of course we have free will. I'm like, no. Cosmic law is very strict. There's a higher will that you align yourself to. Truth isn't what we want it to be. It's what we have to align our human perception with it, because the world already perfect. And here's the big joke. Like I in the Bahamas, so I tell these brothers, yeah, I said, we live in heaven already, bro. You around here talking about the economy and all that. Look at all the nature around us. We live in heaven already, but we forgot. And we forgot on basically what to do in order to embrace nothingness, embrace the prana. So this art of doing allows you to not do. But you see, there's an over-exaggeration where, no, let me just sit still and meditate. That don't work either. How you can bust open them channels? You just sitting still, you don't get to know yourself like that, right? Even when, we be in horse stance for a long time, when the chi generates from the abdomen, when you have it stored, you will feel that excess on built-up of chi begin to push into the leg meridians. It's a certain level of breathing that's achieved in horse stance. It's actually not even about horse stance, really. It ain't about the Kung Fu stances, and it ain't even about fighting. When you throw in the kicks, and then you throw the kick, and you keep it stretched out, you emanate the breath from the abdomen, and you will feel yourself opening up the leg channels. It has always been about devotion to source, to God, all right? Again, there's many techniques. But I know one thing, when you join this class, a lot of things start to make sense, okay? So again, that's just half of I Ching Jing. If you're interested in enrolling in the program, the value far exceeds the price. Trust me, I'm telling you, because once you know it, you have it with you for life, okay? All right, and this is the last thing I can say. Remember, a healthy man has many wishes. A sickly man only has one. Another beautiful saying, a ruler of the mightiest kingdom, a king, would give away all his wealth and resources for the health of his lowest slave. He can't even get out of bed. So as I say, 1/3 of it is food and fasting. But people fast till the cows come home. But you got to remember, you're working to repair. All of that stuff, the fruits, it helps to repair. But charging up was a breathing thing. It was a meditation. It's an awareness thing, all right? 1/3. So when you fast and you clearing your channels, what you clearing it for? You clearing it for awareness, right? That's like me. If I on the island, on a private island, and I paving out to build roads, but ain't no cars here. What we paving out the pathway for if ain't nothing can travel on it? So you have to understand everything that you're doing, you clearing up, you repairing, but you only repairing and clearing up to house more light. So know how to bring the light in, and as you clear the channels in your purification, you can fill up. Because fasting isn't only about elimination and repair. It's also about learning how to eat as a light being. All right? Because most people, when they breathe, they breathe in one hole and just blow it out the other. They ain't even making no use of it. So, but yeah, 1/3 is food and fasting. The other 2/3 of health is energy cultivation, virtues, sexual temperaments, all of these things, right? So again, it was beautiful to be able to introduce this and share it with y'all, and I always end it and say, Ami Tofo, which means infinite light and wisdom to you.
Ami Tofo. Thank you so much. Oh my God, that was cosmic. My whole body was shaking. I had to take a break.
Yeah. It starts off as hard work because you're pushing through blockages. Just like, when you just start working, you kind of start off broke, you know what I mean? And you got to save up. And so you collecting energy. And the more you do it, the more rich you get. You see, so it starts off as work and eventually becomes a meditation. Right.
Thank you, brother. You came through with that. I love that.
Yes.
Yes, so.
Thank you so much. That was
amazing inspiration.
Can we all just show some love in the chat and energetically for basking in this master's joy? Real quick, Eso, I love your energy. It flows. You, like water, I love the joy you have teaching this. I love the joy you have teaching it. It goes back to a childlike purity, and I learned so much. And thank you for sharing with us these ancient techniques so that we can be our best selves. I will definitely be connecting. Guys, make sure you definitely connect to this ascended master who low-key, y'all really know who he is. He's back on the planet. You know what I mean? It's exciting.
I appreciate y'all saying that. You know what I mean? You could be your own hard critic,
Oh, man, listen, trust me, I get it, but take this, man. Take the gravity of these words. It is beautiful what you do. You just took us through a masterclass of metaphysics, the pranayama, and so much more. You're just simply dope for no reason. It's actually quite disrespectful. Hey, but I say all that to say I love you, brother, and I look forward to learning more and collaborating with you. Namaste.
Eso's links are in the chat, everybody, so make sure you tune in with him. I'll drop it one more time because that was absolutely amazing. Completely blew it out of the water. Thank you, brother.
Thank you for activating our
yes. Infinitely.
Thank you for having me.
Infinitely, always, man, and many more.
Yeah. Thank you, Eso. Profound, profound, profound teachings on energy movement, energy cultivation. So grateful to have you here with us. And I am now very excited to welcome our next guest, Mr. Alan Steinfeld, who is here with us. Alan, welcome. And just to introduce Alan, who really needs no introduction, he is the consummate explorer of consciousness. For over 30 years, he has been hosting and producing the weekly television series New Realities in New York City. He has a prolific YouTube channel, over 20 million viewers who have seen his shows in the fields of health, spirituality, UFOs. He's interviewed everyone from Deepak Chopra to Ram Dass and every major UFO researcher in the field. And he teaches courses on remote viewing, and he speaks globally about the nature of alien contact, the nature of consciousness, and infinite human potential. And he's also the author of Making Contact, which he'll be telling us about, his book right there. So, Alan really has been at the forefront of this movement, again, paving the way for all of us. So I've dropped all his links in the chat. I highly recommend checking out his YouTube channel. You're going to see hundreds and hundreds of interviews with every spiritualist and contactee and UFO researcher. He has a group on Soul Search called Making Contact, where you can stay connected with him and ask him questions and share your own experiences about making contact. And you can join Alan at a lot of the live upcoming events he has with Portal to Ascension, including in San Diego, Glasgow, and Egypt. So welcome, Alan.
Well, thank you, Tanjila. I have to say about the last speaker, I was totally into everything he was saying because I studied Taoism, I studied Chinese medicine before I even got into any UFO stuff. That was sort of like what connected me in the first place. Making contact was making contact with the Tao, the flow of time and space through the consciousness of eternity. This was like the grounding for me to understand the cosmos is one thing. It's not like the earth and people. It's like, no, the energy of the chi of creation, if you want to call it that, flows through all things all the time. There are no borders. I mean, it's a continuous flux. So we're part of forever, and it doesn't stop at the atmosphere to the planet. It actually continues on and on. So everything Eso was saying is something I totally agree with. And I liked what he said. The other way of saying what he said about when you say a sick man only has one question, a well man, it's like people in the West particularly, they spend their health to gain their wealth, and then they spend their wealth to get their health back. So it's that same idea. And I think we don't have to do it that way. I think as we form like a soul search community, as we form community, we have communities. It's not like competition. That's very Darwinian, and that's not even the source of evolution. I've studied with Bruce Lipton a lot. I mean, I sought him out. When Bruce Lipton, right?
Of course.
He talks about the force of evolution is not competition, it's cooperation. So, even like wolves that hunt together, they don't compete, they do it as a tribe. I mean, not that we have to hunt anything, but we're here to do it collectively as a tribe of human beings. And the only way to do it is to realize also that the earth is a living being. We are actually a little, not speck of dust on the earth, but we're a little aspect of the earth. We're a little part. Our human consciousness is very small compared to the consciousness of the earth, of the cosmos, of creation. And in the West, we think we're so like personal, it's like this is my stuff, this is me, but that's really not how it is. There are no real clear divisions between me and you, especially if we share the quantum field together. If we're linked in consciousness, your thoughts, your feelings can be, I can pick that up. And the closer you are, the more you pick that up. I mean, so my book, Making Contact, is just expanding the possibilities of this connection beyond what we've been taught is our limits. There are no limits, Tanjila. Next level for us, isn't it?
Next level, exactly. And so, Alan, it's so interesting what you said, that this foray into Taoism and to Chinese medicine was really what opened you up into this broader, space of energetic connections.
Yeah, I mean, actually, before Chinese medicine, although I did study acupuncture and herbology, it was the Tao, which is not a religion. Tao is the way. Tao means the way, the flow, the way the chi moves. Like, you ever see a river? It moves like that. That's the chi moving through. That's how energy moves through all systems. Energy doesn't move in a straight line. It moves into that. I mean, maybe Brother Samuel wants to jump in. He looks like he's listening. Samuel, any comments from you? Anything?
Oh, well, thank you. I am absolutely just absorbing everything that you are talking about and being in the flow about connecting. And I'll save it for later, but you mentioned that you also taught remote viewing, and my introduction into all of this was learning from a remote viewing master. And so I have remote viewed, but haven't done it in a long time. So I'd love to connect on that some other, but please continue.
The master, I'm curious, who did you?
He was trained, as you know, our government trained certain people, as you know, we can't talk about that, but he was trained from them. And I don't know if you know him, Lee Culver. And he does a lot of work with extraterrestrials like yourself, helping people who've made contact, even those who've had less than awesome experiences with them, with regression and helping and things of that nature. And he does a lot of field work with our big hairy friend Sasquatch.
I should connect with him. I've heard his name, but I'm teaching people to remote view in the Making Contact course I'm giving now, because this is really one of the things the government is using remote viewers for, is assist in these craft. And so
I have a question. Which kind of remote viewing do you teach? Do you teach coordinate remote viewing? Do you teach hypnosis remote viewing?
I have taught CRV, coordinated remote viewing, but I teach the Russell Targ method. You know Russell Targ? He was one of the founders of the Stanford Research Institute. And it's more like you're opening a psychic window. And then, so it's not as deep as controlled remote viewing, coordinate remote viewing, but it is more, in a way, immediate. The controlled remote viewing, Tanjila, is they could spend hours looking at one target and writing pages and pages of stuff, and they really go deep. But for what I'm doing, it's more about making contact, seeing if there's a message from these other beings. But the basis of that is just learning how to remote view, so you get the target. What does it feel like when you get the target? I call it target practice. And so when we get, and the target is the object that people are remote viewing, that's like the standard name. And it could be a people, place, things, time, or event. So and if you give people just a number, as in coordinate remote viewing, there's a window. This is how I describe it. I describe it that you can't teach it, but you can learn it, because you are it. That Tao, that movement of energy, it's the flow of consciousness, really. And that consciousness is always coming through the most sophisticated machine ever created is this, although dolphins have a little more complicated one, sophisticated. But this hardware of the brain, it's only a hardware, like your computers are hardware, and it's run by software, which is the personality. But I say maybe you like this question, Samuel. If you have a computer, you have hardware and software, what else do you need to have to make it run?
Power.
Power, that's good. One thing. It's kind of a trick question, sorry. But know
Life.
what were we going to say?
I was gonna say I said power because I guess you need life, and I thought you were gonna
Typing in program. Majestic Jordan says motherboard.
No, all those things are great, but if you just have a computer with hardware and software, it's not going to really do anything if you don't have a operator.
Exactly.
Consciousness uses the hardware of the brain, the software of the mind, in order to be accessing this 3D experience. So, without the hardware and software, we're just consciousness, which is great. We can be consciousness, but we're come into the computer, into the machine, if you want to call it that, to have experiences as consciousness in this lower level. It is a lower level than the pure consciousness, but it's okay. It's a great level if you want to have lower level experiences. And that's what we're here to do. Not lower level, but it's part of this learning to be divine. I mean, we already are divine. It's like we're already painting the painting, but then you jump into the painting just to see what it feels like to be the creator and the creation. So that's my feeling. So we're being created by the creator, which is the aspect of us that is eternal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Infinitely. What a beautiful analogy.
And Alan, I love how you're talking about, I love how both you and Samuel are talking about remote viewing as we're talking about becoming the divine human during this Aquarian age, because remote viewing is something that most people would say, that's not possible. Like, that's not real. Remote viewing, channeling, telepathy. But we are now reconnecting with all of these supernatural powers, these supernatural abilities.
To go back to the computer again, and the analogy of the computer, if there was no internet and you just would know everything that was on your computer was something someone put there, a program or something else. Someone comes along who does have the internet, says, I can get information that's not on my computer. You say that's impossible because you never heard of this internet thing, and you show them and they say, oh, you must have that somewhere. And they say, no, there's this internet. So our higher mind, our right brain, whatever you want to call it, is connected to non-local reality. Joe Dispenza calls it the quantum field. We actually are the quantum field. These are avatars. We are in the avatar. It just feels real when we, stub our toe or something like that, or someone says something, whatever, if you have an argument. But it's not as real as the higher mind, the super quantum field that we're actually manifested from. I think there was a line by Jesus was it Jesus? Somebody said, don't, maybe, I don't know if Jesus, he said, don't follow me, follow he who sent me, something like that. There's a line like, he who sent me, who sent you here, Samuel? Who sent me here was our greater. I mean, you could identify as a God thing, or you could say it's the divine essence that you are. That's who sent you. That's like the creation. The creation, you as creator sent you here to this manifested world because that's what you wanted to experience. Oh, I think that's the rest of the line. They who sent me, if you know who sent me, you will not taste death. Because when you become the essence of that which sent you here, that is eternal life. This is just my interpretation, but that's ascension, really, Tanjila, if we want to call it something. That's what I'm calling it.
Definitely. And so we're here now, we're in the ascension process, and that's what we're all talking about. We're recognizing that we are the quantum field and anything is possible. No limits, no limits. And so how does the making contact fit in with where we are in the ascension process?
I just came from a weekend with my mother, which was torture. When Ram Dass used to say, if you think you're enlightened, I'm not saying I was enlightened, but he says, if you think you're enlightened, spend a weekend with your parents. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a whole world out there that is choosing to suffer. I have to just say that. I'm not making a judgment about my mother. She would admit it. She likes to suffer and likes to complain and likes to worry. And, you know, there's nothing, and I've tried for decades to make that person happy. Not that it was my job, but I think maybe it was my job because I was the oldest, and this person's not happy. And you know, the drama, The Gifted Child, that book by Alice Miller, she says, if your parents aren't there to meet your needs, you become the caretaker to get love to meet the parents' needs, which really helped me. That really helped me see, oh, that's what I'm doing. And that's why I think a lot of caretakers are caretakers, because they're wanting love because they're not getting it because their parents, in some cases, I mean, there's lots of incredible parents out there, I have to say, lots of people who really are there. And my parents were there for me, but there was this other element that I felt, or psychologically, in order to get love, I had to be the caretaker. And that kind of messed me up for a couple of years, I think, you know. But that process, you see, without those little dips and valleys, we already come in connected to source. I mean, that's what these babies now, you look at them, they are connected and I think, not that I'm a parent like counselor, but if you can let that child maintain that connection and just give them creative things to do and sing and be happy all the time and feel loved, they are going to lead the world into a new future that's beyond this 3D, 4D reality. And that's why it takes a village to raise a child. That's the old African saying, you know, I think. So it's like we have to support loving the children so they are creative enough to build a new future. That's the thing. If they have enough love, and I did get love, so I feel pretty secure around people. I mean, I love people, and that's my Aquarian nature too. But you know, I have other stuff I guess I'm working on. But we can all be the creative force, which is why we took on the avatar bodies to begin with, to be in creation as creators, to give back to more of the creative field. That's the incarnational experience. I mean, my understanding, I mean, we didn't come here to suffer. I mean, I've tried telling my mother that, but she didn't really, you know, that's all she knows. And if she's not worried, she's worried that she's not worried. So what are you going to do?
Well, Alan, you have been following, you know, this whole consciousness movement for decades. So, you know, you have the experience with your mother, you had the experience with you, and now we're talking about the young star seeds. You and I were together just last weekend in LA with a young star seed, and it was amazing because we said, what are your supernatural powers? She's like, I can talk to animals, I see aliens, you know, and she, you know, that's how it is, because that's what we can do, right? We can talk to animals, we can talk to plants, we can connect with our galactic families. We're just told that we're not able to. Our young star seeds are coming in quite differently, right, Alan?
No, they're coming in at the vibration that we were all supposed to enter. And that's like where we're supposed to come in at. That's like, of course can talk to animals. Of course you're psychic. Of course it's like, that is the entry place. But we've had, you know, 5,000 years of war, you know, the favorite pastime for human beings. It doesn't matter what country, what race, what religion. It's been tribal warfare. It's been this against that. That's mine. And that's just, it's not necessarily the human condition, but it became that. But we have a chance to do something different. As a planetary civilization, we can open the facility of our brain. We're born remote viewers. Yeah. No one told us we could remote view and see on the other side of the world at 5 years old, but we can. We can do that. And we have to tell the children that. That's the idea. These are supernatural children because they're not just more advanced. The vibrational field of the Tao is accelerating to its next level. You know, when the stream meanders through, it gets like quicker and quicker as it enters the ocean. It just boom. So we're in the quickening. That's one way it's been put, where and the frequency where, you know, the faster light goes, the slower time gets. So we're like manipulating time and space as we kind of see the multidimensional realities that our minds are functioning on, because we have this technology is in a way helping us accelerate. You know, we come together in cities were a great collection of consciousness. We would not be here unless people lived in cities. This does not get invented on the farm, internet, you know. It's like, it's just, so there's a coming together of populations from around the world that contribute to the creative facilities of humanity, each person. And then that's centralization, and then we disperse. So we come together, and this is like the Tao. We come together in cities, we get what we can, and we try to live the best life possible with the technologies that haven't taken over our lives. And we try to enjoy the world we're creating. But, you know, technology is always a two-edged sword. And the first technology we ever created as human beings was fire. You could warm your body, you could cook your food, or you can burn your house down. So fire, like all technologies, it's like you talk on your cell phone, or you could become totally absorbed in it where it takes over your mind. So it's like we have to be the masters of any technology we come into, or the technology will master us. And we need to be the ones that can say, okay, step away from the phone, one of the parts of the Tao that I discovered, there's two things that are most important. And that is, this is Taoist practice. When you're tired, you sleep. When you're hungry, you eat. If you can remember those two things, then you'll be a lot better. At least I tell myself that, you know, if we can just, oh yeah, it's time to eat and it's time to sleep. It just feels like more of a flow. But that's my own little joke with myself, you know. Anyway, what was the question?
So Alan, you're talking about we're in a time of acceleration. We're in the time of the ascension, and we're a time of acceleration. So what can we expect? Like, what's happening and what's different from why is this an accelerated period, and what's happening?
I don't know these beautiful people and these beautiful faces, but they are, I could tell we're connecting. They're real human beings. They're feeling, we're syncing up, and that's something we couldn't do even 20 years ago. So I'm feeling, you know, Godtess. Yes, I'm feeling you, Godtess, and Samuel and Tony. You know, it's like what we have to look forward to is connecting, is feeling people, you know, feeling who they are just by seeing their face, the light in their eyes, the smiles. It's like, we're just that one consciousness. They're a part of me. You're a part of me, Tanjila. So that's different, I think, because we're less identified maybe with the personal self and more identified with the feeling the other as myself. So I know whatever Godtess feels, I'm feeling that with her. So I just
that's powerful, because we were taught to see, okay, Alan, I'm looking at you, you're different than me because of, you know, you're a white man, you're this, you're that. But rather than looking at those exterior markers, we're just looking and connecting and saying, you know, I'm connecting, you're connecting.
But I'm not even like, when I'm looking at Godtess, I'm not even looking, I'm just feeling from Avatar or Samuel, I'm just feeling like through the dimensions. I wouldn't even say it's psychically. It's just I don't know how to, it's something, a knowing.
It's the innate soul resonance that you feel. I like to call it cosmic harmonic synergy. Cosmic harmonic synergy, and you're feeling the reflection of yourself. And I wanted to ask a quick question, if I could, Tanji, as we talk about connection and the quickening and ascension, and now you led into feeling, whereas before in decades past, whereas the old paradigms were more thick, and now they're weakening, and this ascension and love is, really being pervasive. Would you say that the ability to, because like you said, remote viewing is innate, guys, just heads up. Superpowers are real. Divine powers are real. You're a divine being living a corporeal human experience. You know what I mean? You're a superhero. Everything you read in comics is real. And when you realize that, that's the dope. But to discover those powers, you get closer to source. But what I was saying is, remote viewing, because everything in reality is connected to a matrix, because we're all connected to the oneness of the true divine supreme being. And so remote viewing allows you to connect, just like you said, we're computers, and computers connect to one another from vast distances through the internet. Well, there's literally a matrix internet, an ether, a grid. And so would you agree that remote viewing allows you to tap into that innate divine, I guess you would say, thread that allows us to perceive beyond time, because we are quantum, like you said, our DNA is quantum, so it allows us to perceive beyond time and beyond our own Akashic experience to any experience that has ever happened in the universe?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And then also we're doing it now as we kind of connect with each other. We are going beyond time. Our souls are recognizing each other. And the soul, in my opinion, is eternal. It's the forever essence. It's the thing behind the avatar. So when you're talking and I see the light from you emanating, that's an old recognition of something beyond time and space. It's like, we'll always be connected now, some ways. Yeah. I mean, right now we're in the field. We're joined. There's only the field. The illusion is that we're separate, but the field is emanating love. That's how I feel anyway. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I feel. And I know, I can just, I don't know. I think the more we open up this window, when I teach remote viewing, it's like a window opens, the more we're just connected in there. So it doesn't matter the specifics. I could be at this target or you could be at that target, but it's what's the connection there, and that's when we learn as a human race to have that. Bruce Lipton says, this is when we really become humans. This is when we create humanity, when we realize we're all cells in the same human beingness, that we're really, like your fingers, they may think that they're separate, but they're all part. It's like we're all part of the human psyche, or whatever you want to call that. And so when we come together as one, means when we realize, like when your cells realize, like there's not one cell listening to this conversation. The cells are a synergy that come together and make the singular consciousness. That's our next level of evolution. All of us, from wherever we're from, come together to know we're part of this bigger thing. Then the synergy of awareness, this is what Bruce Lipton, the synergy of awareness makes the superorganism called humanity, called humans. And then when we have that singular focus, when we are aware we're all, then we could really make contact with the other planetary civilizations that are also at a singularity to make the next level of super organism where we come together, planetaries come together, and then we realize we're part of this even bigger consciousness field, and then boom, and it probably keeps going on and on forever.
Yeah.
So
that is so exciting, Alan, because that is where we're at. This planetary this universal consciousness just expanding and expanding and expanding.
yeah, right, Samuel, you got that right. I know you're thinking that, right?
Yes, as a matter of fact, you're kind of bringing me, you're making me emotional because, like I said, my one of my great mentors, who, he's the one who got me on, like really propelled me on this path, and he's such a master and guru, and he would say to this day, and this was back in 2008, when I first met him, and then we really started working together in 2013. But to this day, I still think back to things he would say that you just resonated with. Like you talked about, you just made an example of, like, if we're all remote viewing and we have different targets, this doesn't matter because we're all in the field and we're feeling each other and we're connected that way. When he was teaching us how to remote view, he would always say, I don't care if you're on target per se. He was like, it's about feeling that, knowing you can. And we would always do a mantra that I am one with the universe and I can feel all things. So, and then you talked about connecting and expanding and being more. I remember he said, I can see you all you see when you look at yourself right now is a seed, but I see the forest and all that you're connected to. You know what I mean? He is able to see in the field. And lastly, what gave me the chills, you spoke about Bruce Lipton, and he talked about that that synergy and becoming a full human being. That's almost a direct quote from the person who from Lee who taught me how to remote view. And we were always like, he likes to call us Jedi, which is really what you are, the Jedi program. And he would always say, I am teaching you consciously to be a full human, because I like to say that the powers that be, because we're gods, lowercase, the divine, right? Yes. And so those that have been out of harmony with source and wanting to use lower vibrational energies for control and all this that you were talking about, and war and things like that, how do they make that happen? How do you trick a God? How do you control a God? By making it forget that it is a God, by teaching it that it is less than. And we see that even in the unfortunate wars and lower vibrations of this division amongst humans, how we look at each other and oh, you're this or you're that, or I'm better because of that and that and that. We always find something to try and label and make that other part of ourselves, because we're all one family, feel less than.
Yeah, and that doesn't have to happen anymore. I don't think. It never really had to happen, but there were lots of power-hungry men, I'm sure it was mostly men, I have to say, that wanted power because they felt insecure. Maybe no one loved them. They had to prove themselves. It's like, that's why we need to love the children, so they don't have to go out and prove, like joining a gang or doing this, that to be loved and be an individual. They can just feel that love. And when you feel that love, you don't have to prove yourself. That's my opinion. You just,
everybody wants to be seen.
Yes.
Accepted, just to be seen.
Child, if you're held and seen and someone says, look, we see you, you're loved, I think that gives them the security to then create and give back. I think give back, is
Well, thank you so much, Alan and Samuel. And I have to say that, seeing both of you here connecting, I know that this is not your first rodeo together.
Thank you for including me in the conversation. That was super unexpected, but very dope.
I just want to include you. I want to hear if Godtess, you have anything to say, because you were right there with us. You want to unmute for a second?
Yes. Thank you so much for what you all said. And it just takes me back to Ray and Sahat's question about, did I have anything else deeper to add about dying daily? It's really us getting to this place of, we have ascended to consciousness. Now, then we must go into the subconscious and remove that as an ideal as well. And for the whole organism to work, there must be this whole lightening of whatever you may have carried. That too is the death. That is you just embracing that no longer exists. It's no longer needed, like you said. It's no longer a part of what we're even going to ascribe to. It's no longer a narrative. And so for us, as we have, already taken it upon ourselves, that it's our assignment now. It's our assignment now. We're on a divine mission to, just like you said, Brother Samuel, just superhero in, and whatever your superpower is, Tanjila, come on with it. Whatever mine is, I have to come with it. Whatever yours is, we're creating the net. It is a connection all over the world, just like the trees. They are all connected all over the world via their roots.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you, Godtess, for wrapping us up. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Alan. I think he dropped off, but it was wonderful just having this beautiful connection and communication with all of us together. It's so, it's just heart expanding in every way. And of course, everyone else joining with us, we can feel those connections together, which is so beautiful. So thank you all.
All right, guys. Wow. So we're going to transition into, I don't know if there are final,
Just kidding. It's not us. Actually, yeah, it's our other organizers. So.
Okay. All right. Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
You can tell us live, right? We be talking behind the scenes and things be changing.
Yeah.
Oh, I got kicked off for a second, guys. I just want to respond to what Godtess said. And the death, letting go, it's like the death of death, because those things were death that were keeping us back. So it's really the death of the death. And that's equals life. So yes. And sorry to interrupt. Yes.
No, you're totally fine.
Absolutely. Thank you. That is exactly it. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Alan, for wrapping this up with us. Amazing. And thank you for being, I know you're traveling all day, so I appreciate you jumping in for this conversation.
Where are you located, Samuel? Which part of the world?
I reside in Atlanta, United States, Atlanta, man. But I can, hey, man, I travel. I'm not bound to Atlanta, man. I travel wherever spirit leads, man. So many people that I've connected with, we're gonna be doing some cosmic things, right, Sahat?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's
so
true, Alan. Actually, the four of us, well, I'll say five, because Sahat, myself, well, we didn't meet there, but we went. Samuel, Tanjila, and Charley, we all met each other in Mount Shasta.
Oh, where are you, Tess? Where are you located? Where?
You're in the cold streets of Chicago.
Not cold today. We warmed it up, girl. You saw it was
right. It was. You're right
melted.
About that.
It's melted.
Yesterday
we woke up with 2 inches of snow, and completely everything is gone. Like the sun.
It's melted. I haven't been out today.
We haven't either. We saw it out the window, but
it's
gone.
So Sub-Zero playing peekaboo?
We sent out some vibrations of heat into the ethers.
Absolutely.
You're muted, Alan.
Technology being disrespectful.
This vibration is too high. That's all. That's all.
Well, sorry. Were you asking me a question? No, I'm just went off.
No, we just saw you talking. We were saying you're muted.
Oh, thanks. No, it's great to connect with you guys. I'm sorry I missed a lot of the day, but it looks like we should do it again sometime.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you,
It
Alan.
continues, right,
Joining,
Tanjila?
meeting our new friends here, Samuel, the Angelic Knight, Ray and Sahat, my co-organizers, Godtess, who gave a wonderful talk, Eso, the God, who you got to
Get
see.
them on Scott's show. Let's get them on
Definitely.
Waking World.
I'm
Yeah, they have,
available.
yeah, they've been, but we'll put them on again, and we'll
We're
be doing.
available.
Okay.
We're available.
All right.
My
And
calendar
this
is
Charley, yes,
yes,
Charley.
it's open.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Oh, and my book, you can get my book at Barnes and Noble. It's about making contact on a whole other level. Talk about synergy of awareness. That's our next level.
Exactly. Follow, subscribe to Alan's YouTube channel, New Realities, and you can find him on Soul Search as well. So
Yeah. Thank
check
you,
it
everybody. I'll
Thanks,
listen as we continue. Yes. Thanks.
Oh, yes. Sorry about that. My bad, guys. You know, I'll be in the zone. So so our next presenters, I have the profound privilege into introducing you to a wonderful being of light who exudes such amazing divine feminine energy. The divine feminine cloak her in majesty, and she is bringing with her awesome brother in light as well, God Source, who also embodies that divine masculine. And so together they wonder twin power and are going to introduce you to a dope topic. So without further ado, I bring you Tanjila and Brother Charles. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Really appreciate you, and just really appreciate everyone joining in today, and just being able to feel everyone's energies throughout the day, and all of us connecting, you know, in the quantum field and beyond space and time. It's just been amazing because we are really creating such huge light together, and I love it. And so I'm Tanjila, the founder of Soul Search, and I'm here with my beloved Charley Lamson. And, you know, we just wanted to share about soul integration. This is the Integrator Summit, and we've heard so many incredible experiences about integrating mind, body, and soul, and what that means for each one of us. And so we actually just wanted to wrap up, you know, the day in a way with soul integration. And first, you know, I just like everyone to just relax a little bit, relax. We've had a lot of things happening, a lot of things going on behind the scenes with everyone, people grabbing food, and, so just like let it all go, let all of the energies go. And let's just connect and relax into our body, feeling our body, feeling the energies of who we are, connecting to Gaia, feeling her incredible strength supporting us under our feet. And as we feel her cradling us in her arms, we feel so safe and so secure. And then we just feel ourselves expanding higher and higher and higher and higher up into the cosmos, connecting to the cosmic consciousness of who we are. We relax into this pure, brilliant, golden, luminous light of pure source energy. And we feel the power of our soul. We feel us illuminated in our pure soul essence, a fractal of source burning brightly like a star. And as we feel ourselves burning brightly as pure positive source energy, feeling the grandeur and majesty of our soul essence, we feel our pure power, our infinite love, and our deep compassion for all there is and all there ever will be. And as we feel into our soul, feeling the infinitude of our being, of endless light and endless wisdom. We look down onto planet Earth and we see this beautiful planet below us. And we say, yes, that is our next destination, where we are going to incarnate, where we are going to feel the emotions, the breath of life, from bliss to despair, to anger, to joy, to forgiveness. All of the emotions that we feel, we will choose this journey so we can truly understand who we are. And as we make this decision, we then decide to come down into the planet, our soul essence traveling through the cosmos, through the galaxies, and into our earthly bodies, our human suits. And as we arrive into incarnation, we open our eyes and look around us and see the beauty of this planet, the plants, the trees, the animals, the minerals. And we see everything that is here for us. For we have chosen this experience to know ourselves fully, to know one another fully. This is the call of our soul. So as we feel into our human experience, we feel the emotions, the great joy, the great bliss, the despair, the anger, the sadness, the judgment. And as we feel these feelings coming up, there is no judgment, only observation and only celebration. For every emotion, every feeling, every experience is our creation, is the call of our soul.
Thank you, my beloved one. Thank you so much. Yeah, so that was a great intro to help calm the energies and to look at things from a higher perspective, the perspective of the soul of everything that's been going on within us, around us, and to look at those, that the remembrance that we chose to take on and fractal our souls by sending out and creating with unlimited particles of the I Am presence that gave us to fractal our soul and create different aspects of our reality. But now is the time, it's the earth's time to ascend, and it's why we came. It's time to integrate these fractals of our soul that have gone out being the best that they can possibly be. All right. And most of us here, I would say all of us here, have actually been the overseers of your past lives. And in this incarnation have come back down into incarnation as a master returned to balance these energies. All right. As if these were your little brothers and sisters that left their toys all around. And now we came down to clean up the mess. Okay. But it is nothing more than the balance of energies. Now we've been doing this our entire life unconsciously because we are masters and our higher self has been orchestrating this whole thing. But now we're in this last few years of this transition, we're in the birthing canal. It's required that we become more aware, the self-awareness that we're responsible for the negative thoughts that come back to us, okay? That little judgment, that judgment against ourselves or an anger that comes back to you through somebody else usually that triggers us, is actually just a little child wanting to come back home. And every time it comes back to us, we send it back out in the universe. Okay. But this is the integration. All right. And there's a beautiful chemistry that begins happening as we integrate these shadow aspects of our soul. We don't need to condone any behavior that's being reflected back to us, but it is about acknowledging that it's being the best little betrayal it can be, or the best little judgment it can be as a child. And we can transmute these energies with the alchemy that we've been doing our whole lives and that we do naturally on the higher planes. All right, we transmute these energies back into your divine soul, your divine power, your divine love and grace, and anchor it back in. And this prevents the energy from going back out into the universe for another spin around the Ferris wheel. It's going to be integrated. And when this occurs, there's a chemistry that begins happening within you. Okay, I believe it was a goddess Tess that spoke about this. There's a chemical reaction beginning to occur within us as we do this soul integration. All right, people do this naturally when they're moving towards their transition. But we're the ones that are choosing not to move. We're choosing to alchemize our own forms into this new being. We're here, the masters that are evolving our forms from Homo sapien into the Homo sanctus or Homo luminous being. Okay, this is part of what we're doing, but this alchemy begins washing away all insecurities. There's glands in our bodies that have already been there. They've been planted by divine perfection for this time on earth, for these frequencies that we are being able to touch on now, where you begin, like, all of a sudden codependency to anything, whether it's a romance or money, a job, like it just like washes away and you feel so secure and you know, I am that I am, whether I'm by myself on the top of a mountain or I'm in a castle. I am that I am. And like we begin, it's an actual chemical reaction within the physiology of our body that is occurring. All right, our brains are changing. There's more connections being physically made in a profound way that is actually connecting us to our soul. And the more that we keep clearing these, we call them shadows, but they're soul fragments of ourselves that are coming home. All right. Many of us have done a great deal of this work already. And now we are working with collective energies, okay, which magnifies and amplifies the ability to change your own physical garment. Okay. You are actually removing negative thought forms from other people that are projecting them, and you're able to keep it from returning back to them. All right. This is of a service that you've been doing your whole life unknowingly, but now in awareness, you can become aware every single time you feel irked or something triggers you or something is happening in your life. You can look at it from a place of not taking it personal. All right. And you can begin integrating these energies and it becomes your power. It's not just like a nice thing to say or a nice thing to imagine. It's a physical effect that you will tangibly feel if you are not already. All right, this is us becoming ascended beings on this path. You know, when you teach, these are the laws of the universe unfolding for us, you know, as healers. And I tell you, each and every one of you is a healer. Whether it's through your eyes on a call like this, whether it's through your hands, you are all healers and you are all teachers. And the more you do this, whether you have 1 million people watching or you have 5, you are expanding your wisdom, you are expanding your energy and consciousness. And this too is soul integration. All right. Every single one of us has our own set of the 10 billion in the population. So when we judge another one, that must return to us. But when somebody judges us, we can like capture that judgment and transmute it back into love. And then you just elevated that part of you. Okay, like people talk about everybody as a reflection of us, but this is an actuality. Okay, we each have our own set of the entire population. We are each our own version of the world. And now that many of us have really gotten through our own ancestral and past life balancing, we're moving into higher service for the earth itself. All right. Like beloved Eso was speaking about, like this, it's not that we gave away our free will, but it's more like we are coming into alignment with the service to humanity that we agreed to do before we incarnated. Okay, we agreed to go through our trials and tribulations, help clear and elevate all these energies that we signed up to do. And now we're actually working on collective energies so that the earth herself can make her transition. And it's a monumental time to be on earth. And it's, there's so much I could say. I could go on for hours,
Charley,
but it's.
Esmeralda is asking, could you say that again? What is the service I've done all my existence?
You have been, if you could picture a great big violet pillar that comes out of your crown up into the universe, it is like literally like a bug zapper that has been attracting the negative thoughts, like the moths to the fire of the collective energies. Okay, because you are a very high vibrational and high frequency master from a higher plane that came down to earth to do this in this time. Okay. Now, these thought forms have been instantly transmuted by your, this energy back into love or awakening. Okay, it's all these negative thoughts that came into your energy that were transmuted that actually raised your frequency to be available to see, oh my God, there's more to life than what I thought there is. All right, this is a frequency change. It's like the radio dial within you began changing from alchemizing collective energies, from ancestral energies. All right, and these things have occurred. Does that make sense?
And so that is so powerful, Charley. And I think so what, the experience of us as the soul essence coming into our incarnation, we have created every experience that we are having, the ones of self-doubt, the ones of fear, the ones of judgment. And like a lot of our speakers said throughout the day, when those come up, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person or that you've done something wrong. It is an opportunity for observation. And now, as we are stepping into our divine human, we have the opportunity not just to observe these emotions, we have the opportunity to alchemize and transmute them, transmute fear into love, transmute judgment into forgiveness. And as we do that, we welcome these pieces of our soul back to ourselves. So when we feel that judgment, when we feel a judgment against ourselves, and we're so hard on ourselves for so many different things, we can, each one of us can probably name 1,000 things that we judge ourselves for. And we're so hard on ourselves. And then we say, well, okay, let's just put that away. Let's just put that aside. But we don't have to put it aside. We can say judgment and bring that energy into your heart and say, I acknowledge you, judgment. I acknowledge you, judgment, for being the best judgment that you could possibly be. Understanding and knowing that I have created you for this experience. And now I let you go. Forgive me for not recognizing you as my creation. I see you now as what you are, and I give you love, and I bring you back to me. And I now transmute you back into the eternal love substance that you truly are. And bring that judgment back home into your heart, knowing that it was just a creation of yours for you to know yourself fully, for each one of us to know ourselves fully. And we bring in all of the judgments that we feel coming across humanity from all of our programs, from society and family and our religion. We bring those judgments into our huge, wide open heart and transmute into forgiveness and transmute into unconditional love.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. And this is the key. And as we do this, it raises the frequency of the very thought form that has come back to us usually through somebody else, because it likes to pick up friends on its way back home. And it just raises the frequency of it. And this is what raises the frequency within your physical garment. This isn't just a spiritual activity. I mean, we are spiritualizing our physical garments this time. All right. We are resurrecting ourselves into the being that we always were meant to be. And it's such an amazing time. It's such an amazing time. And I can tell some of you guys are tapping into this. You guys know, beloved Samuel, I've heard your messages.
Oh, thank you, man.
Our soul. We integrate all of these pieces of our soul back into who we are. We then, we are reverberating that divine human and up-leveling our physical garments as well. So, it's just powerful. Charley, if you have any last words.
And as you do this, every time your heart beats, that new higher ripple, like dropping a stone in a pond, is rippling through the entire earth, through the cosmos and universe, right? It isn't just Earth that's ascending right now. It's every planet, every solar system, every galaxy, and the whole universe is making a jump, right? And we get to be part of it from boots on the ground, right? And it's just such a profound time. It's profound.
And our soul integration is the cosmic integration, is the universal and integration, the multi-universal integration. And it starts with us and it is endless. So that is, what we're powerfully doing together here. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. And I am the founder of Soul Search, so I really invite all of you to come check out soulsearch.io. So many of our amazing speakers here, including my dear co-organizers, Ray and Sahat and Samuel the Angelic Knight, are part of our Soul Search family, and we are constantly growing. I invite all of you to come in, join our community, drop your questions, share your experiences. If you're a practitioner, I invite you to join us as well. We also host a lot of online and in-person events. Our next event is a big psychic and healing fair next weekend in San Rafael. For those of you in the Bay Area, stop by. We also have coming up in LA, April 2nd, as well as in Scottsdale, April 30th. So we have so many opportunities for us to connect in person, live, online, continue these conversations, continue these connections, and continue our soul and cosmic integration together. And you can also check out Charley's website. You can find him on Soul Search, as well as at his website, sacredfirealchemist.com.
Thank you, Ra and Sahat. Thank you. And of course, Samuel and everyone.
Thank you, Alan.
Yes.
Thank you, Tanjila and Charles. Y'all
And
did a
Charley, yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Well,
So who's up next? I think Ray and Sahat, you guys are up next. Wonderful. Our amazing co-organizers here. They need no introduction, but they are incredible spiritual and energetic healers, teachers, guides. Like they mentioned, actually, it was really a divine appointment for all 5 of us here on this screen, because we all met at the Mount Shasta Cryon channeling event, the Marilyn Harper channeling event. So that was a divine appointment, bringing us all together, not knowing what was going to unfold amongst us. But I knew that we were all supposed to be doing something together. And I'm so excited that we've been able to co-organize this. And I know there's many more things to come, and really excited to hear the sharing of Ray and Sahat on chakra balancing and our energetic bodies. And, Samuel, I don't know if you want to jump in and say anything else about our wonderful co-organizers as well.
I'm gonna dive in real quick. I would just like to say, first of all, thank you, Tanjila, and your awesome beloved, as you call him, Charles, for that soul integration and y'all coming in with like the twin flame energy and taking us there. Like I literally was someplace else, like with that whole meditation y'all did. Like I came back in my body and was like, oh, all right. So thank you for that. And as you just beautifully introduced our next presenters, ladies and gentlemen, like you said, they need no introduction, but I will still attempt to give them a good one. Introducing my brother, one of my best friends, who I met at Mount Shasta and do incredible things. He is a master at helping entrepreneurs, spiritual people, balance by helping them gain self-mastery, amongst many other modalities. He's just like super dope. I call him the encyclopedia of spiritual stuff. He be going too deep, man. He be going too deep. And of course,
today is no different.
Right. And of course, the lovely, lovely Ràella, who is the true integrator. And I want to say this, when I first met them at Mount Shasta, they were the first people that I channeled for outside of my channeling group, and we hit it off immediately. And I remember Spirit brought through, and it really talked about their union. And it talked about their union specifically will be an example for others. And from that, it'll be a catalyst for great change and awakening. And so I am glad to say that only a few short months later, that they gave a spoiler through yours truly. And so we get to delight from their union. We are in communion. And we all are in reunion with each other. And with great love and honor, I present you my family, Sahat and Ràella.
Thank you.
Thank you for that vibrant intro, brother. We love you.
Yeah.
I love you. I love you more.
Yeah, I'm tall, so I can honor you more.
Okay. Enough of this.
The bromance about to go.
Thank you. And divine evening, everyone. I am Ray.
And I am Sahat.
And we are your favorite spiritual couple.
Ding.
You always do the ding. Okay, so listen, I'm just like Bryn. I like to do a little interaction. So I want you just to drop a "I'm ready" in the chat if you're ready to get this. First of all, if we're allowed to give you more value, are we allowed to over deliver for you? Drop a "I'm ready" in the chat if we're allowed to over deliver for you right now, because this is the Integrator Summit. So what we're talking about is integrating all of these things that we've heard today. We've had so many amazing speakers, from mindset to harnessing your chi, to dying daily is divine, to making contact, to the masculine and feminine energy within us. We've had so many amazing topics today. And we are so excited to just bring it together for everyone right now. So I am a spiritual integrator, which means I help you connect mind, body, and spirit to take you to the next level of your self-mastery journey. So no matter where you are in your journey right now, the chances are you could be somewhere further, right? So it doesn't matter if you are, like they said on a, I think it was Charley that said it, you're on a mountain meditating by yourself, or if you're in a mansion right now, you can always take your life a little bit further. So let's dive deep into the psychology of the mind, the reason why we do the things that we do. And if you ever get in a situation where you're stuck, how to get unstuck. Are y'all ready for that? Drop a 1 in the chat if you're ready. Let's get it. Sage Weezy, shout out to Sage Weezy and to Tony Manifest, who have been here all day. We see you. Thank you. We honor you. Thank you. Bernice, you came back too. Thank you.
Mark Denny Savowski. Oh, snap. I'm hooked on phonics.
Yep. Mark's been here too. Thank you, Mark. We met Mark.
Charlotte's been here for the beginning too.
We met Mark at the Awakening World show on Scott's platform. So thank you for being here. Thank you. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, so why do people get stuck in life, or why do people do what they do in life? You ever ask yourself that question? And there's a couple of answers. I'm going to dive deep into the 6 human needs. But before I do that, let's talk a little bit about momentum, because if you're not where you want to be in life, the chances are that you've built momentum in the opposite direction of where you're looking to go. So there are 4 components that factor into momentum. First is potential. Can we all agree? Drop a "I agree" in the chat if you can agree that all humans are born with the same potential. Let me see it. Say "I agree" in the chat if you believe that. everyone is born with the same potential, whether you were born in the mansion or you were born, it doesn't matter what class system you were born in. It doesn't matter what country you were born in, what race you were born under. We all, as human beings, have the same potential, right? So why is it that someone who has nothing ends up becoming like the millionaire? We can take, let's take Amazon, Jeff Bezos, for example, right? Who started in a garage or in a basement or something like that. It's so common, right? He didn't really come from money, but he had a vision. He has the same potential as the Prince of England, right? We all are born with that same potential. Your potential is what drives your action, right? And whatever your action is, whether it be to go towards something or to run away from something, your action is what drives the results. And then whatever result that you get triggers the belief or the certainty for what it is that you're seeking. So let's take this, for example. Let's say you're looking to start a business, which is something random, right? You're looking to start a business and you believe in yourself and you know you have the potential. So you take action, right? Your action drives the results. You get certain people. Are you taking a shot?
Yeah. Go ahead, you got it.
Okay. You see, he does this thing to me. This is our relationship. Okay, anyway. So your action drives a certain result. But let's say, for example, you weren't educated, you didn't get the right people mentors or models, and you just kind of took random action, right? That quality of action is going to determine what quality of result that you get. So if you get a result that you don't like, what tends to happen is it lowers your level of certainty, or it lowers your level of belief that you are capable, that your potential is there, right? So it is a continuing cycle of potential, action, results, belief, potential, action, results, belief, right? And you can go in one direction, or you can go in an opposite direction. So if you're doing the actions and you're not getting the right results, and you are lowering and lowering and lowering your belief, or you're not taking any action at all, and that result, and you're getting the result of nothing happening, then that will continue to lower your belief as well. So you are building momentum in an opposite direction. So all we have to do is change the direction of the wheel, right? So if you're in a place that you don't enjoy right now, or if you're looking to take your life to the next level, all you have to do is change the direction or increase the level of momentum that you've already got. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're with me. Let me see it. Drop a 1 in the chat if you're with me. Yes, Sahat's taking tequila shots right now. We don't drink, so. So momentum is important to understand, because we come here in this corporeal form to learn how to manipulate energy, right? That's what emotions are, right? We come down here, we forget our divinity, right? We forget our eternalness, and we're put in these physical bodies, and we experience hurt and pain and struggle and happiness and joy and excitement, the whole gambit. We get to experience that. But at the same time, we are here to learn how to manipulate that energy. Those emotions are only energy in motion. So when you fall into a space of let's say depression, it's a mental disease, right? No, it's just, you just built enough momentum to get to a point where it's hard to get out. You ever try to move a car by yourself? Just push it. You can't do it. You can't do it. I mean, you can if there's a baby stuck under it and you're the mom, and then, it's a crazy example. Y'all heard of that? Let me know if y'all have heard that before, where the lady lifted up the car to save her baby. You can do things in extreme situations when you have enough momentum. The reason you can't just push the car is because you don't have momentum. The car doesn't have momentum. It's so heavy, right? So when you get into that space of depression, it is you are so sunk in that energy of emotion that you're trying to push the vehicle, and it's in park, you ain't even got the key, it ain't even in neutral. There's literally no momentum getting you anywhere, right? So if you want to get out of that space of depression, you have to reverse the momentum wheel. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, first off, let's bring awareness to your state. Okay, so Eso gave us a great example of how to harness and harvest your chi energy to fill up your battery, right? How many of y'all were shaking during that? Let me drop a me in the chat if you was just like, oh, I was shaking the whole time. Like, it was a challenge. But yeah, definitely intense, Mark, for sure. So, but there are only two states. There is a low state, which is where you have low energy, low vibration, right? Or there is a high state, which is a peak state, a serving state, a state where you can operate from to actually make things happen. If you are in a low state of energy, chances are you have built enough momentum to keep you there. When you change your state, and you can change your state like that, and it's easy because emotions are energy in motion, right? So all you have to do is move your body. It's crazy. Like, if you get up literally right before we started our portion, I literally just like started jumping up and down real quick just to get the energy moving in my body. So I can, we've been here all day too, and so, this takes a lot of energy. But for me to be able to serve you at a high level, I had to get myself to a peak state. Drop peak state in the comments for me real quick. Peak state. Okay.
Peak state?
Peak state. That is the key. That is the key. So what's stopping you? Let me ask you this question. What is stopping you from moving forward? 9 times out of 10, and it could be anything. It could be, I want to be a millionaire, billionaire. I want to find the love of my life, or I'm looking to open a business, or I'm looking for better health, right? Any of these things, but it's like you want it, but you don't have it now. Why is that? Because you have the potential. Everyone has the same potential, right? We already went over that. The reason you don't have it is because there is some kind of fear that is in the way from allowing you to take the action. What is fear? False evidence appearing real, right? It's stuff you made up in your unconscious mind to hold you back from your truest potential. Okay, so there are 2 major fears that really hold us back as humans. The fear that we are not enough, or the fear that we will not be loved. And those 2 fears keep you in your safe space, in your box, in your comfort zone, right? And if you're in your comfort zone, it means you're not growing. And if you're not growing, drop it in the chat, you're what? Exactly. If you're not growing, you're dying. Exactly. So we have to learn how to eliminate fear or just act on it. Because everybody experiences fear. People experience fear from public speaking, right? But there are times in your life where you have to step up. That is not one of my fears. Let's be clear. I've been public speaking since I was in high school. But let's talk about what controls your quality of life, right? So if you are fearful, chances are your focus is on the fear, is on what you can't do. It's on what you don't deserve. It's on your worthiness, like, oh, I'm not worthy, right? Your focus. Number 2, your language. What do you say? How do you explain your experience? We use somatic frequencies to project out into the ethers that create these waves that go through the crystals that are our teeth. And then they bring back into our reality exactly what you asked for. So when you're like, oh, I'm so stupid, that is your purchase order. Marilyn Harper right now, I hear her, change your bracelet. Change your bracelet. And the reason why she says that is because it interrupts your pattern. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. So what controls your reality is your focus, your language, and then your physiology. What is your body doing, right? Eso will tell you all day long. You have to cultivate an energy that puts you at a peak state, right? If we're not at a peak state, there are only 2 states, either a serving state or an unserving state. Right? A peak state or a low state. Which one are you in? So when you're looking to step into a space of manifestation, these are the things you have to ask yourself. What state am I in? What am I fearful of, right? How can I overcome that fear? What is my focus? What is my language about this? Let's say you want to fall in love, right? But you just see, oh, these boys out here or these girls out here, right? You can't talk bad about the thing that you're looking to bring in, because when you do that, you are blocking your blessings. You are putting up a literal block, and you will not be able to get what you want because your unconscious mind is working 24/7. Bryn earlier talked about this. Your unconscious mind is working 24/7 to bring you exactly what you asked for. You are the captain of your ship. You are the captain of your ship. So if you say, oh man, I can never find someone who will just accept me for me, that's your purchase order. That is your purchase order. So change your bracelet, right? And so that is the first thing, interrupt the pattern, right? And then introduce a new pattern, introduce something, another thought. Okay, so after you change your bracelet, like, I am capable of love. I am deserving of love. I am worthy of love. And then you begin to reprogram your mind. So the last thing I want to talk about, I want to take you into the 6 human needs really quick, because this, once you understand the 6 human needs, you'll know why people do the things that they do and what drives certain actions, right? So there are 4 primal needs. The first one is certainty. We all require certainty in our lives, right? If you don't have certainty, it means you're not comfortable, you don't feel safe, right? You, like, things could go crazy anytime, right? And that creates an unstable environment internally and externally. So we all need a level of certainty. The second one is variety. You know, if everything was always super certain and you knew exactly when the light was going to turn, you knew exactly when somebody was going to call, you knew exactly what your partner was going to do, you knew everything, how fun would life be? Not very. It would be super boring, right? Super boring. But if you allow yourself to get a little variety, the spice of life, also known as uncertainty, it makes things a little more jazzy, you know, like, oh, that was a surprise. That's cool. And that's what challenge and adversity is. It's just a little spice in life to give you a little bit of uncertainty, to give you a little bit of variety. We all need it, right? The third one is significance, to feel important. We all have the need to feel important. We all have the need to feel special, right? Which leads me to the fourth one, love or connection. Some people will substitute connection for love, but those are the two, like love and connection, right? We all need to feel connected to something greater than ourselves. We all need to feel connected to a group. And so when you look at someone's actions, you can basically pin out what their human needs are based on their actions. Let's say, and these are any actions. Let's take, for example, a gangbanger or somebody, right? Somebody who will like rob your car and carjack you or something. They, 9 times out of 10, someone who's in a gang, it is for a level of significance. It is for a level of connection. And it is a level of certainty and gives you variety. How much variety do you get by doing all that crazy stuff that gets your adrenaline pumping? You might get caught. You feel, you know, these people put themselves in that primal state, but they're certain that they have a group that'll be by their side and they got their back, you know? So if you can take any action and break it down as to why does that person do that based upon these human needs. And these are just the first 4 of 6, right? These first 4 are the primal needs. Okay. The other 2, those are the spiritual needs. These are the needs that you must have in order to feel fulfilled in life. Okay. So if you are meeting those first 4 needs, but you are not meeting the last 2, you're going to end up miserable. You're going to end up depressed because you're not feeling fulfilled. Drop me in the chat if you want to know what those last 2 needs are. The last 2 needs are growth and contribution. I heard Samuel said, tell me now. I heard that in the tell me now. Growth and contribution. Everyone needs to grow. Everything, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? We already talked about this. Godtess will tell you, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? And contribution is important because we all need to contribute to something that is greater than ourselves. Everything in nature contributes to the greater good. If it doesn't, it gets eradicated or eliminated. Okay, so if you're not growing and if you're not contributing, then you are not going to feel fulfilled in your life. So those are the 6 human needs, and it'll help you realize, okay, well, why do I do some of the things that I do? Right? Why do I act or react? Right? We talked earlier about response versus reaction, right? Why do I react in the way that I do? And so something that we have to do is we have to take control of the mind. First, it's the mind, and then everything follows suit. Because you can't really take control of your body if you ain't take control of your mind, because you need discipline to take control over the body. You can't tap in spiritually if your mind and your body aren't in alignment, right? So when we talk about energy flow, when we talk about the chakra system, it is a flow in energy, right? Remember what Eso was talking about. It flows, you create the circuit of energy within you. And if any one of those chakras are blocked, it is like clogging up a water hose. It does not, the energy will not flow through. So it is our job to remove those blockages. But in order to do that, you have to first analyze your habits, your thought processes and your habits. What are you doing? What are you thinking on a daily basis? So it brings you back to like focus, language, and physiology. Those 3 things are very important to help you change and get you to a place to build momentum towards the things that you actually need or are looking to accomplish. Okay, are y'all with me? Let me know. Give me some thumbs up, some claps, some hearts in the chat. Okay, all right, cool, awesome. So what we have to do is we have to break ourselves from these like man-made constructs, the constructs of the mind and the constructs of what man has created, and go back into self. Go back into self, because you are a microcosm of the macrocosm, right? And what that means is when you are steady pointing your finger at somebody else, how many fingers are pointing right back at you? I think Marilyn Harper said that earlier too, right? You are part of the problem. So what I've learned to do is when I get frustrated, I will express my emotions, but then I will also go back in. So something actionable that you can do right now is in every instance or in every situation, ask yourself, how do I contribute to this? Right? If something appears in your life that might be a little adversity or a little challenge, right? Let me tell you how many challenges then came up this week, just this week. You know, because when you're working towards something, your higher self and the universe tests you. You get tested. Oh, do you really want that? Are you sure you really want that? Oh, you did good at them last 2 tests, but let's try you again, right? When is she gonna break, right? And it'll keep testing you until you either get the confirmation like, okay, next level, or you actually break and then you got to start over, right? So ask yourself in this moment, like, how did I contribute? Where am I energetically? What is my focus? How is my language around this event or circumstance or situation? And then finally, what is my body doing? Am I at a low state, a low peak state, or a low peak state? I guess there are peaks and valleys, right?
There's levels to it.
Right. Am I at a low state or am I at a peak state? And in order to change the way that your life is flowing, in order to change the momentum of your life, that's what you have to bring your attention and awareness to. All right. I'm going to pass the mic
All right, alley oop. Let me get my screen pulled up because I got some things to show you.
Okay, so yeah,
First off,
I brought it real base level for y'all. Get ready for Sahat because he about to go deep.
first of all, I like to talk to the God within y'all. So if that's okay, drop the God in me in the chat. Cause we about to go deep and we about to get spicy. Cause I got some questions for y'all. I'd like to know who controls your time. Think about that for a second, because we're about to bring some awareness to some things. Because the current Gregorian calendar that we have comes from Pope Gregory. So more than 2,000 years ago, Julius Caesar came up with the idea to gain more power and to change the republic into an empire. The result was the Julian calendar. So in 1582, Pope Gregory the 13th reformed the Julian calendar to give the conquered indigenous people a new time. So history is the script written by those who hold the power. So 30 days have September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February alone, which has 28 days clear and 29 in a leap year. So goes the folk rhyme, underscoring the illogical nature of the Gregorian calendar. By contrast, a far easier, more logical way to divide the solar year would be by 13 28-day months with one extra free day. So let's do some math real quick, because all of us are good at math. Type, I'm good at math. You have 7 days, and we're going to replace the word days, D-A-Y-S, D-A-Z-E, because we're not casting that spell. So we're going to replace that with plasma. So every 7 plasmas is a week or a heptad. There are 4 heptads or 4 weeks in a month or a moon, which is where the word month comes from. 4 times 7 is 28. Can anyone explain to me in the chat where we get 30 and 31 and 29? Where are we getting these extra days from? Like, let me know if you have it. Make it make sense. So the first question that I like to ask, when was the Gregorian calendar created and by whom? Because when his story began in Babylonia, Sumeria, in the Middle East, it forfeited knowledge of the solar ring for a focus on a synodic lunar calendar, which has nothing to do with the solar ring. So when the conquest of the New World happened, the Babylonians destroyed the knowledge of the calendar, which contained knowledge of solar orbit. By destroying this knowledge, they also destroyed the knowledge of the calendar, which contained knowledge of the solar orbit. By destroying this knowledge, they also destroyed the basis of cosmic perceptions. This is the root of the calendar change and the closing of the cycle. Keep in mind that the destruction of Mayan time knowledge was completed by a Vatican calendar reform in 1582, which gave us the Gregorian calendar that we are currently using today, this plasma.
Exactly, Samuel Houseway.
Thank you. Thank you. Make it make sense. So question 2, when was the natural time created and by whom? So the seed of the 13 moon calendar was planted by the indigenous African, or the Olmecs, and subsequently discovered, quote unquote, and made popular by Mayan culture. So the knowledge of the Olmec time masters surpassed all knowledge. True understanding of time caused our mind to expand and evolve. And as you can see right here, the brother Runuko Rashidi, who studies, has gone deep into the Olmec lineage. The Olmecs actually come from the Dogon people. So the reason they were called the Olmecs actually translates to rubber people, because when the Dogons came to America, they brought rubber trees with them. They had rubber, they actually were the first beings that had rubber sole shoes. And they also were the first beings that had a rubber ball that they played with basketball. So the Mayan prophet Sahat Votan ruled for 52 years. He refers to himself as time's special witness. His love and wisdom and devotion is largely responsible for the great contributions of science and art from Mayan antiquity. This timeless knowledge, perfectly preserved in his tomb, utilized the same science contained within the calendar of Thoth of ancient Kemet. Now, when we talk about Thoth, Thoth also brought us the emerald tablets, and within those emerald tablets, because they are alchemical by nature, which means they cannot be destroyed by any earthly means. They are when your consciousness creates something of pure matter out of existence. You will it. That's how it was created. So the third question is, who created the 60-minute clock, and for what reason?
It's the what reason for me.
When the clock was first created, it was nothing but a toy. Then it was developed by some monks to amuse themselves and to wake up for early morning prayer. That's where the clock comes from. So let's take a look at the DNA and the loom of the Maya. So on the left, you have the Zocan, which is the representation of the 13 moon calendar. So if you look at the black spots that are encoded in this, it looks very similar to DNA strand. And that is because integrating the galactic code of light into the genetic code of life, the loom of Maya is a portal formation, a resonant structure linked to the activation of our full DNA potential. And just to show you, as above, so below, everything that the 13 moon calendar aligns with also connects with the cosmos. So it flows with the rhythm of the cosmos. So everything has a song. Everything is light, sound, resonance. When we speak about that resonance, we all have a song to our soul. Our soul resonates at a certain frequency. It is a song. When you get into biodata sonification, how to translate electrical signals, which is what our body gives, which is what living matter gives, including crystals. You can translate that electrical current into a sound. And that's what we talk about with the rhythm of the cosmos. Because when we talk about row your boat gently down the stream, when we talk about going gently down the stream, we're talking about going down and flowing with the rhythm of the cosmos down the stream. We're not fighting the current at all. We are flowing with the natural rhythm of the cosmos. So I want to bring into some practices that you can implement in your plasmatic routine. So we set the intention at night, because what you do at night sets the tone for what your next plasma or your next day will flow like. So practice acquiring the consciousness of childhood Visualize the divine child within. Before you fall asleep, suggest to your consciousness, I now realize that there is within me a spiritual joy body, ever young, ever beautiful. I have beautiful spiritual mind, eyes, nose, mouth, skin, the body of the divine infant, which now tonight is perfect. Repeat this affirmation and meditate upon it quietly while falling asleep. Upon rising in the morning, suggest to yourself aloud, well, dear, and you're going to input your name. So for this specific case, we'll just say, well, dear Sahat, there is a divine alchemist within. And by the spiritual power of these affirmations during the night, a transmutation takes place, and the unfolding from within, the spirit has saturated this spiritual body and spiritual temple. The inner alchemist has caused dead and worn out cells to fall, and the gold of new skin appears with perpetual health and loveliness. Truly divine love is demonstration, is eternal youth. So when we talk about this divine alchemist, we're talking about our ability to transmute anything. So say the divine alchemist is within my temple, constantly coining new and beautiful baby cells. The spirit of youth is within my temple, this human form divine, and all is well. Om Shanti, 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 Om. And Shanti is peace, peace, peace. So learn to thrill yourself. And what do we mean by this? Learn to excite yourselves, because you have a consciousness to your cells known as your innate. And your innate receives instructions from the 9th layer of your DNA. So we're getting into how everything is connected. You have all these different aspects within your DNA. They are just waiting for you to connect, and all it takes is communication. So affirm or invocate. Infinite love fills my mind and thrills my body with its perfect life. And make everything bright and beautiful about you. Cultivate a spirit of humor. Enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy those small things in life that we take for granted. Learn to smile in that sweet way of a child. You got to waken up that inner child, because many of us have been told at a very young age to quiet ourselves. And many of us have remained quiet on our true, authentic self. We haven't fully expressed ourselves the way that we genuinely can as divine beings. Because I'm talking to that God within you. Type in the chat, that God in me. So a smile from the soul is spiritual relaxation.